Okay, so Canada is about to take another big step in disconnecting itself from the United States. Because in July, Canada will be receiving its first China EVs, specifically from Geely and the Lotus brand. And it looks like there's going to be an opening ceremony in July when they arrive in Montreal. So I guess Montreal gets them first. Now, I don't know many people that can actually afford these cars. I mean, I sure as hell can't. But that's not the point of this video. The point, I'm actually not really wanting to talk about the China EVs. It's not the primary topic in this video I want to get out. What I actually want to talk about is Canada making the first steps in what's best for us and not what's best for the United States. Because we've been hearing this for years, decades, maybe even generations, that we should not be dealing with China, and China is bad. I mean, here's the best example of that.
You know, I think it's to me to have, like, for instance, a BYD video car, which is, you know, a wholly Chinese-made vehicle with a data package that's sending back 3D video and mapping and geolocation and can be hacked back to Beijing. Those are things that I see as I'm a former CIA officer. They're national security issues, not just economic security issues.
Now, I know I played this clip to death, but it is the perfect example of the United States government, the Democratic government, not being happy for us actually, like, you know, thinking for ourselves. But it's not just the US government. Doug Ford, good old Dougie, is also calling them Chinese spy cars. And he's trying to convince Canadians that we need to stick with the US automakers and that China's bad as well.
Premier Doug Ford doubling down on his concern that any Chinese-made electric vehicles headed for Canada could become what he calls spy cars. Premier Ford and cybersecurity experts argue that roughly 49,000 electric vehicles from China, which Prime Minister Mark Carney is allowing into Canada, are capable of collecting a wide range of vehicle and driver data that could be accessed by the Chinese government. They warn information such as location, number of passengers, GPS routes, phone call audio, and even images or video captured by onboard cameras could potentially be transmitted overseas.
We've seen demonstrations at different hacking events where individuals have demonstrated how autonomous technology could essentially be weaponized.
Premier Ford repeatedly said yesterday that he does not believe China will ever build vehicle manufacturing facilities in Canada, despite Carney's claim that such investment will come as a result of the EV for tariff reductions deal.
Now, this clip was actually from early January, before China and Canada made an agreement. But this proves that people on both sides of the border, they still want the old Canada. And what I mean by old Canada, I'm referencing this article here from the Globe and Mail, and it's titled, "Do you believe in the old Canada or the new Canada?" Now, I did a video on this a few days ago, and I felt like I needed to clarify and give people an example of what old Canada is, and why some people want to continue to keep it. If you haven't seen my previous video yet, I'll leave a link in the description below. But to quickly summarize for people who haven't seen my previous video, basically, organizations on both sides of the border, mainly businesses, want the old Canada to stick around. And the old Canada is basically the one that would bend over to the United States. Basically do anything that the US wants. And the EV topic is a perfect example, because in October 2024, or somewhere in 2024, Canada decided that it would be a good idea to put 100% tariffs on the China EVs, basically because the United States pressured us into it. And in this article from Al Jazeera from 2024 August, I'm going to read this part out. Canada, following the lead of the United States, says it will impose 100% tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles imports and also announced a 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum from China. Now, if you were to read this in August 2024, it might not be that big of a deal. I mean, if I read it back then and, you know, without knowing what I know now, I would have been like, okay, we're just following our allies, someone that we call friends. Well, fast forward to today, and this whole paragraph reads completely different to me now. And personally, I'm happy we're backtracking on this and not taking the lead from the United States. In a sense, it is our own doing. I mean, we've been so integrated with the United States that we basically forgot the rest of the world. We were basically buddies with the schoolyard bully, and the bully turned on us. And in hindsight, we probably shouldn't have been that close to the bully. But like I said earlier, some people don't want the old Canada to go away. Some people want us to still be like the bully's sidekick. Here's the next example I want to show everybody.
Your Prime Minister, Mark Carney, when he was elected earlier this year, said that Canada's old relationship with the US is over. Those were his words. He said our military and economic relationship, the deepening integration of our two countries, is over. It was quite a stark statement from, as you say, America's closest neighbor.
Well, I agree with the Prime Minister on a lot of things. We're very aligned, but it's not one of them. The notion that the relationship between Canada and the United States has changed forever is a very long time. After all, if you look back in history, we fought 2 wars. We beat you in both of them, and we burned down the White House. And here we are, for the last little while, have been best of friends. So things are not forever.
Now, when he says things are not forever, he's meaning that like this tension that we have between our countries It's not going to last forever. But neither is the friendship that we have, or had. And unfortunately for Goldy, he's having a hard time dealing with a change. Now, why might he be having a hard time? Because he's got to make sure the members in the Business Council of Canada are still happy. All of these companies here and all of these CEOs will probably have some sort of reliance on the United States. And all of these people here, they'll want to keep the old Canada, which is probably why Goldy's fighting so hard to make sure things go back to the way they were before.
We've got to get through this period, but what we've got to preserve is the foundation that's allowing our economies to function as well as they are. Are there trade irritants? Absolutely. Are we all guilty? Do we all come to this table with clean hands? We don't. So this is why the process is important. Let the trade negotiators do what they need to do. And as I said, I sleep well by separating the noise from what I'm seeing so far. And I'm not, even if you parse the words, as I said, as they threaten a lot of things, it doesn't mean they're going to do them. After all, just a little while ago, the president threatened to put more tariffs on because the province here chose to run an ad. They weren't put on.
God, this guy like reeks of Kevin O'Leary. Now, I totally get it. I mean, the Canadian businesses, they do have to continue to survive. And they're going to have to continue working with the United States. But what I'm saying is that we should not be solely reliant on the United States moving forward. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, because the United States, they just burn that basket. And this guy here is trying to pick up the basket and like dust it off, saying everything is okay, everything is fine. Well, for me, at least, my opinion as a Canadian, it's not fine. But what I've shown is two different levels, trade as well as business. And I've shown people on both sides of the border who want the old Canada to remain. But let's be honest here, could we still have the old Canada, or have we seen too much? For me, I'm going to agree with our Prime Minister.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over. President Trump again imposed unjustified tariffs on our nation in violation of our existing trade agreements. We will respond forcefully. Nothing is off the table to defend our workers and our country. And our response to these latest tariffs is to fight, is to protect, and to build. We will fight the U.S. tariffs with retaliatory trade actions of our own that will have maximum impact in the United States and minimum impacts here in Canada. It's my solemn promise that when President Trump threatens us again, we will fight back. We will fight back with everything we have to get the best deal for Canada.
Now here's a question. Is Doug Ford and Goldy Hyder, are they fighting for Canada? Or are they fighting for the United States? If you ask me, they're fighting for the wrong team. I mean, they should just hand in their passports.
We will build an independent future for our country, stronger than ever. The road ahead will be long. There is no silver bullet. There is no quick fix. And I know and I understand that many are feeling anxious and worried about the future. Fundamental change is always unsettling. But I have every confidence in our country because I understand what President Trump does not. That we love Canada with every fiber of our being.
Now, I know every Canadian listening to this right now and who supports my channel probably does love Canada as much as Mark Carney said. But many of us, we're just regular everyday Canadians. We're not CEOs or billionaires or people that can make a difference when it comes to shifting business and trade. Now, I had somebody email me basically saying, hey, I'm a supporter of your channel, but I think everything you're doing is a lost cause because we're just everyday citizens, the working class. And sooner or later, as time goes by, things will go back to normal, which is basically the old Canada. Well, I respectfully have to disagree with that. It might for some, but not for everybody. Because many of us have seen too much, and it's gone past the point of no return. And quite frankly, for me, it's not just the US government, it's also their citizens as well. We've seen plenty of cases of their citizens not respecting Canada and just treating Canadians as someone who fills their cash registers. I mean, you can see the screenshots right now. These comments are not very nice when it comes to Canada. And they're not unique either. They're all over the place. Which brings me back to the original topic of this video. The first batch of China EVs is going to be arriving in Montreal, Canada. And again, it's not really about the EVs. It's about Canada taking more and more steps to do what's best for Canada and not let the United States take the lead. And the next major decision and purchase that I hope we step away from the United States is going to be the fighter jets. What I last read is that it might be a split fleet. And to me, it's not just about the plane. It's about who's making them and where it comes from as well. And if you ask me, this next video right here It sounds a lot better than anything that comes from the US administration.
And when you talk about, and certainly the company has spoken about this very recently to my colleague who was over in Sweden, the possibility of creating Canadian jobs, that the federal government has almost made it a stipulation of whatever agreement goes forward. Can you expand on what you envision for that? Like for Canadians in particular who are watching tonight, wondering what this means for them, how would you answer that?
No, to put it very, very bluntly, it would mean Canadian jobs in Canada. It would be a Swedish fighter jet, world class, but it would be a true partnership, and that is what we're saying now. We're friends, we're allies, we're true partners, and that is what we're working for with this strategic partnership that was signed between my Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson and Prime Minister Mark Carney today as well. So it would entail concrete job opportunities here.
Now let me ask the viewers a question. Will we get the same opportunity when it comes to F-35s? Will we have jobs here in Canada? Probably not. Because any potential deal with the United States has to win. And the other side, they have to lose. I mean, we're seeing it right now with the auto industry in Ontario. The orange whoopee cushion wants to take the US auto brands that are in Ontario and pull them back into the dysfunctional house. So another question, is this a stable relationship that we want to continue? Because for anybody that wants old Canada, this is what they want. So I really do hope that everybody sees the significance of this article. It's not really just about the EVs. It's about making the steps to disconnect us from the United States. And the best part about it, I know it's pissing off people in the United States, like this person again.
And then, we're watching things develop. We don't like watching a decision to let Chinese vehicles into Canada. That's not something we want in the United States. And so we're struggling for the first time in a long time being on different pages on international trade issues.
I've said this translation before. What she's basically saying is that they are struggling because we are not listening to them and we are not following their lead. And they're not used to us not being on the same page as them. So what are they going to do? They're going to try to scare us and say China cars are bad and they're spying on us. And they're going to send like your 3D images back to China. Well, Slotkin, what the hell do you think Tesla and Apple and Google do? Or even Facebook? So don't give me that hypocritical bullshit when your country's just as bad. So I think all Canadians and even the rest of the world should be prepared for more of this gaslighting to come. To close off this video, I would like to thank Lorelei for sending this photo of the Saskatchewan Legislative Building. Lorelei has sent a bunch of photos from Saskatchewan and Alberta, and I'm going to be happy to feature them in future videos. So thanks again for sending them over. Alright everyone, that's it for this video. If you found any value in anything I said today, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international point of view, without the US media bias, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button below. That way you'll be notified of my future videos. And don't forget to hit the bell icon and select all as well. Now, if you want to see more of my videos, check out the ones that are going to show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone, I'll catch you in the next one.